Okay. Welcome back to Nikolai's Comic Corner Classic Lesson Known Classics. This is episode number 1846, Doubleshot number 1740. Okay. This one discussing Daredevil by Bendis and Maleev, the Ultimate Collection, Volume 3. This collect issues 66 to 81, roughly 3 story arcs here. And by the way, these issues are basically from 446 to, let's see, because it's like 16 issues. See, 15. Well, if you're thinking that 7 might be double size, it is. It's a regular size issue. Let's see, 16. I think it's like 446 to about, let's see, it is 555. I think it's up to 461, I think it is. The Golden Age has nothing to do with the character Melina at all, where just basically just some black and white issues. It's basically focused on Robert, basically focused on the Golden Age Angel for the story arc. It seems kind of weird, and then we come back to present day, and we can see Daredevil in the yellow costume. So it's just a story arc set in the past, but it's really good here. Just exploring a Golden Age story for a few issues. Yeah, it's only just a quick 4-part story, but it's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's basically something from Daredevil's early days, which of course you could say this could have been like a backdoor pilot to the miniseries Daredevil Yellow. That is the best way to describe. Oh yeah, it's actually a 5-part story. Yep, takes up issues 66 to 70. It was parents by Melvin Parter, aka the Gladiator, which is Max Maleev draws him in this artwork, which looks pretty good here. Love the covers though. Yep. You have Daredevil meeting up with the White Tiger, so he may have met him when he was wearing the yellow suit, but I don't remember him doing this. Daredevil was in the yellow suit back in the 60s, so this is a bit of a retcon with the whole thing with the White Tiger. Yep, and this kind of introduces the success of the White Tiger, Angela Taro, the niece of the original. I say the niece because she has a teenage aunt. Yes, it is so confusing. She gets the amulet, and the best way to describe this story, it's simply how we have the creation of a new White Tiger. And this is the White Tiger up until the Shadowland stuff. Yeah, and then of course you have Daredevil training her. Yeah, but it's just a really fun story arc here. Come on. And like I said, it's only 5 issues, and that's it. Yeah, just a quick 5-part story arc. But it feels like a lot of pacing. Like has really good pacing to it. It feels like you definitely would find a story by Mike Bendis. And then we have this story called Decalogue, which we have this style of cover art here, and it is like this throughout this entire story arc. And this one here, it's a 5-parter. Now, basically, this is kind of the story where Melina herself gets reunited with Daredevil in these issues. And this also leads into stuff there'll be some changes for the Daredevil book. Yeah, Daredevil be up against random bad guys. As the title suggests, basically, is all about yeah, this whole story is simply like dealing with him trying to get out of the way of being the kingpin of Hell's Kitchen. But this does lead into Melina coming back to his life. Yep, it does. It does lead to that. Then randomly, issue 74, we have the apparent marriage, and then later on, divorce of Melina. And of course, she comes back in this issue. Yep, in issue 74. Comes back in this issue because she misses Matt Murdock, so she kind of basically tries to rekindle a relationship with him. Yep. It's nice they brought her back here. They have For some reason, you have the you have of all people, you have Daredevil be up the Jester. Yes, the Jester. Who says they're acting differently. I'm like, he's a guy dressed as a court jester. What do you expect? Yeah, him kidnapping a random woman. Yeah, and the reason why he's acting this way because there's weird parasites infecting him. I'm not going to show the image because it's gross. You think it comes out of his body, he tracks out of the woman, and Daredevil knocks it away. It's a weird story arc, but still lots of dialogue here. Mm-hmm. And you kind of wonder, like, what the heck is up with this story arc? Then we get something interesting. The Murdoch Papers. This is a 6-part story arc. Oh, and by the way, here's the cover out here on the far left. That's supposed to be Ben Urich. Yeah, this story arc here is the end of an era for Daredevil. Basically, this is the final issues of the book done by Michael Bendis. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are the issues where Maleev slowly goes back to his life, and he mentions, like, in the story arc, didn't you announce an always like Matthew, Elena, take a message. Yep. And the other reason, and of course, apparently it's outed that Daredevil was Matt Murdock by the Kingpin of Crime, probably to spite him. Yeah, but then we have Black Widow talking to... Apparently this is supposed to be Maria Hill. And I've never seen her dress this way or have her hair like this. Yeah, this apparently is Maria Hill. And I'm like, wait, did Alex Maleev just make her more sexier than she normally is? I get the fact Maria Hill is hot. Also, her hair is really short. She's basically a tomboy. Here she's kind of like, oh, let's make her hair longer for no apparent reason. Have her have sleeves in her uniform cut out to show off her arms. Actually, like her shoulders. Do not know the reason for it. And then because you have Matt Murdock in bed, it's like, morning, who's there? Don't be silly at me, Mr. Murdock. Yes, Malia, there was a big surprise. What do I talk about? I missed you. Yep, and they kind of basically hook back up again. And then this moon is spoiled by Elektra in a new attire. Yes, Elektra shows up. And yeah, she's she's more revealing attire than usual. It's almost like Alex Maleev drew her in a very thin outfit. Yeah, shows a lot more belly. She's not wearing, like, it's basically much thinner attire. I'm not sure why in the world this is. And Maleev gets out of there, but yeah, and the reason, and of course, you have Iron Fist showing up here. Yes, Iron Fist in a completely wrong attire for him. Yes. Yeah, that's supposed to be Iron Fist. And you're thinking, what the heck happened to his attire? It's Alex Maleev. And then the Black Widow shows up. Yes. Oh, by the way, here's a fun fact about you when it comes to these two. These two have got a long-running feud with each other. The reason why? Their past association with Matt Murdock. That's the only reason why. Heck, there have been some fanfics of these two sleeping together. I am not kidding about that. I'm not going to go more detail on that, but then we have the owl showing up, basically in a way, with White Tiger, and then, of course, then while they're talking, then Daredevil catches the card. Why? Because Bullseye is here. Yes, frickin' Bullseye, riding a motorcycle. I'm like, did Brian Michael Bendis apparently is a big fan of the movie for Daredevil, just threw in like a lot of stuff in the live action version of a Bullseye. No costume, with a scar on his forehead. Even though in the comic that was actually Matt Murdock dead to him. I'm like, okay, that's what it seems like to me. Now, I'll explain how the story arc ends. It's kind of weird per se, of how in the world, because you have Daredevil, Elektra, Black Widow, and the White Tiger beating the crap out of all people, Bullseye. And I get Elektra, but here's the thing. Black Widow's got barely association with Bullseye. Oh, by the way, we have Elektra bleeding like crazy. Yeah, Matt Murdock collapses. Yep. And then talk to Ben Urich about Matt Murdock. Yep. Then we have Maleev meeting Black Widow first time. Melina? My name is Sasha Romanoff. I'm the Black Widow. Do you know who I am? Where is he? Where's Matt? Yeah, and you have basically Melina here in her underwear talking to an ex-girlfriend, Matt Murdock. And of course, Daredevil being wanted. And then, of course, Elektra brings Daredevil to the Night Nurse. Yes, the Night Nurse. One of the many ways. Why? Because Night Nurse fixes up superheroes. And then you have Jessica Jones show up here. Well, you think it's supposed to be Jessica Jones. Yeah, this apparently is Jessica Jones. I'm like, Alex Maleev, did you forget what the heck that she looks like? Well, yeah. Apparently, for some reason, I'm not sure why, the artist apparently thinks that this is what Jessica Jones looks like. Yeah, this is implied by Jessica Jones. I'm like, no, that's not Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones is not this woman with a chubby face. I'm like, she's a lot higher than that. I'm like, what the heck is this? So then, of course, Night Nurse treats his wounds. And then, of course, Black Widow brings Melina here. And then they're cornered by the frickin' Hand, all because Elektra called them. Yes. Here's the strange thing. When in the world Elektra could lead you the Hand? Do not know. It's kind of weird when it comes to Elektra at this point in time. Especially since not long after this, I'd say within a couple years, it's found out that Elektra is a Skrull. Which starts up the whole Secret Invasion stuff. Yeah, fighting the Hand here. And then the police shows up, arrest Matt Murdock being Daredevil. Yeah, and then of course, basically, trying to arrest basically Black Widow and Elektra. This public Black Widow is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. You under arrest for conspiracy to, hey, Luke, don't. Federal law. Yo, man, you're hurting him. You can't interfere. Arrest all of them. For what? Aiding and abetting. The only people aiding was you swearing you getting killed. It wasn't necessary, sir. These men are de facto agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. My name is Natasha Romanoff, level 8 S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Luke Cage is the Avenger. I know Gambier. You arrest them. And Murdoch? S.H.I.E.L.D. shuts you down. You get nothing. Alright, get them out of here. Murdoch stays. Oh god, no. Can't stop this. Yep, and then he's arrested. And he's put on trial. Foggy Nelson's defending him. And then he just breaks free and escapes. At least he's not shot by cops, because he's been gone with them. Of course, he's still handcuffed. And of course, Melina basically is able to escape with them. And they go out of the country. And they hang out for a while, and it looks like Melina might be killed. And these issues here are kind of weird. It's like, apparently he kills Bullseye, and then he goes back home. And then he goes to see Elektra, who's wearing completely different attire. I mean, do you fly over to frickin' Japan to sleep with Elektra? For some reason, he goes to got a beard. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Oh yeah, it turns out it's all a dream. Yep, it's all a dream. And apparently then we was first drawn appropriately here now. So apparently, and of course Kingpin is arrested. Yep. So Kingpin, Owl, and Daredevil are all in jail. And, well, and they're off to Rikers Island. And that leads into stuff related to happening in the pages of the Brubaker stuff. Yep. Yeah. So, should close out here. Final thoughts on Brian Michael Bendis' run on Daredevil. It's actually a really good run for Daredevil. Now you might be asking, should have run a little longer? No, I think it lasted as long as it could have. Excuse me. Yes, and I'm gonna give the run I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a trade a 9.5 out of 10. Just damn good here. All right, next up it is Marvel Masterworks Daredevil Volume 12. Yes, 12. There are about 3 more trades I have to go for 3 more volumes this one, and that's it. And I'll switch over to another trade to almost kind of finish with these Daredevil stuff here. This book collects issues 120 to 132. Yep. Who pops on 131, you might ask? You'll find out. Now, issues 120 to 123 is the Tony Isabella run. Now, from what I've heard, now reading the forward here, is that Tony has got a lot more plans he wanted to do with the book. He wanted to basically get back to his roots and explore a little more of his past. Nope. Leen Wein didn't like it, so he fired him, replaced with Marv Wolfman. After only 5 issues. And begin the era of Marv Wolfman. Yep. Now, in the case, the very first issue we have here, come on, stop it. Thank you. You have 120, you have, now basically, the first issue was weird. This one felt like a lot more like a regular story out here. You have Daredevil versus El Tiger. Yes, team with the Black Widow here. The 123 is noteworthy for one particular thing. And that's when basically Matt Murdock's relationship with Black Widow ends, and she is dropped from the title into issue 155. Yep. That's when she returns. Because she does briefly appear in 124, but she's there basically just to be written out of the series. And of course, you have Daredevil fighting Hydra, fogging out potential in S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, it's a really good stuff. I like this stuff. It's not terrible. I'm like, why the heck did Lee Wein not like this? Yeah, this is awesome. Really freaking awesome. And you have to take on Batwing again. First time since like issue 113, I think it was. Yep. Really fun stuff here. And yeah, and this because apparently Lee Wein didn't like this stuff, so he fired him in place of Marv Wolfman. I'm like, really? Yeah, and then it comes down to basically, I think 123 is the debut of a new character. Yes, let me take a look at that. Actually, no, this is not her debut. This is appearance by the character the Man Killer. Yes, her first appearance was back in Marvel Team Up number 8. Yep, that was the first appearance. She's Jerry Conway character. And that was back in 1973. Her next appearance is not until issue... Oh, she pops up in this story here. And then, of course, after the story wraps up... Now, like I said, Black Widow herself is dropped in the title. With 123. Yep, her next appearance after this one. She would be definitely the next appear in pages of Vendors. Number 137. Man Killer herself, well... Oh, by the way, here's a strange fact here about this character. She's a confirmed lesbian. No, seriously, she's a confirmed lesbian. Yes, after appearing in this issue here, 123, her next appearance is next in pages of Iron Man for 2 issues. 126, 127, and then she appears in Marvel Team Up number 107, Web of Spider-Man number 3, and after that, 9 until Thunderbolts, where she became a semi-recurring character for a while. And she appeared sporadically over the years, like after issue 81, she popped up for 2 more issues of Thunderbolts, 3 issues of Avengers Initiative, 2 issues of Amazing X-Men, and her last appearance was in Thunderbolts number 12, where she died. Yep, they killed her off. And you're thinking, really? Yes, really. They decided to have her die for some reason. Jim Zeb decided to do this. Yes. So, she's currently deceased in the comics now. Yes, and 123 is the end of Tony Isabel's very brief run. And then begins something really interesting with the case of, and of course, Hydra herself was defeated. And of course, well, then by next issue, we have beginning where basically Black Widow is basically kind of written out of the series before she shows up in Avengers. And we debut this guy called Copperhead, who looks like False Face. Yeah, he looks like False Face. And he's here for these few issues. Yeah, he's here. He's a multi-part like issue. This arc here just a, let's just say, yeah, and this guy here, he appeared 6 times over the years. 6 times. He appeared in this issue and the following issue. And after this appearing again until Daredevil / Spider-Man years later. Well, then he gets killed off for the next issue. And then we have the first appearance of the Torpedo. Yep, the Torpedo. You have the first Torpedo, who gets killed off in this issue. This is Michael Stubb. He's the original Torpedo. And then you have Brock Jones, who is the more familiar Torpedo, until he got killed off on the pages of ROM. Yep, this was his debut. Yep. So, yeah, he appears here for a handful of issues, and then he leaves. And then he became some regular character page of ROM before he died. Yep. So, yeah, first appearance of a character who later appears in ROM. Awesome. Yep, that's 126 for you. It's almost kind of like basically Marvel created him, and then nothing much was done with him until ROM showed up. And of course, this is first appearance of the Torpedo. The current Torpedo is a woman. Yep, the current person who holds the identity of Torpedo and wearing this very costume is in fact a woman. Yep. Yeah, it is in fact a woman named Mikiko Masaki. She is the current person who holds the identity of Torpedo. She's a character from New Warriors. And currently, she is not really doing very much at all. Nope. I mean, her last appearance today, this version anyways, was basically in the last issue of Nova. Yep. But yeah, like Torpedo appears here just for this one issue. He does appear a little bit later after this one. He does appear in the next issue. It's a quick 2-part story. And then we have a return of the Death Stalker. Yeah, but this is not... I don't think this is the original one. Oh yeah, this is the original one. Yeah, first appearance issue 115 of the series. Yep, he next appears pages of Ghost Rider for a couple issues. We're coming back here for 138. He's here sporadically until 155 where he gets killed off. Yep. And this kind of begins a story arc here with issue 1, basically after the Torpedo stuff wraps up. With issue 127. 120 begins a story arc that lasts for a majority of Marvel's run. Basically, yeah, we have this character called the Death Stalker who at one point killed Karen Page's father. Yep. He makes a return here, and of course then you have Ditto hook up this woman named Heather, who basically becomes his new girlfriend. Kind of. Heather Glean. Yep. Yep, that's that basically as soon as well, Black Widow left, no less than 3 issues later, he gets a brand new girlfriend. Yep. Yep. So yeah, Heather, great character. Interesting though, she becomes his first like living girlfriend since Black Widow. Yeah, then with 129, it's a return of the Man-Bull. Yep. Man-Bull shows up here. Yeah, for a jury. I kind of forgot he did some trial stuff early on here. Yeah, then we have actually this issue here. This is the issue starts the very weird story arc involving this weird stuff here, where we see apparently JFK and Robert RFK being alive in the 70s, even though they're both dead. Yeah. And there's also a smear campaign against Foggy Nelson in these issues here. And who's behind all this? Who's behind this stuff here? I'll reveal that when I talk about next volume here, because it's by far the most weirdest choice of a villain that Marvel reveals one behind all this. Yeah, it fights Manbull, and then we have this death thing happen in this issue. Yep. Still really good stuff here. And then we have the debut of a character who is very iconic with Daredevil. And it's a character who, I should point out though, is when people think of him associated with Mark Wolfman, he's not a character people think of very much associated with Mark Wolfman given all the other characters over the years. But this character is always associated with Daredevil. Who is it? The man who never misses. Bullseye. Yep. He bears this issue in the following issue. And he basically still appears this very day. Yeah, despite the fact the guy has died twice, he still appears. Heck, he appeared in issue 200 of the series, where Daredevil went to Japan to beat the living crap out of the guy for killing Elektra. Of course, that happens later on. Yep. And we have, let's go to this circus for the last issue in here. Yep. Great stuff here. Love the whole thing with him. And that's it. It is the end of Bullseye per se after issue 132. No, not really. Bullseye's next appearance is 9 to issue 141. Yep, 141. I should point out though something about Leen Wein, for example. Leen Wein does come on board with issue. He co-does issue number 124, but he doesn't do any further than that. I think this was the only issue he wrote for this whole book. Yeah. But for the start of this era for Marv Wolfman, it's great. I love it. Marv Wolfman's a great writer. And I enjoy reading his stuff. And of course, I also love reviewing his stuff too. Yep. I think he leaves this issue. I think it was 141 I think he leaves. It was at some point, anyways. It was 143 when he leaves. Yeah, I think it was 143. Yeah, that's when he leaves the book. Yeah. And of course, because we also introduced the character Blake Tower. He is another character who makes his debut in this run aside from Bullseye. Yep. Aside from Bullseye, we have the first appearance of Blake Tower. Yes. Who we see that, there's a smear campaign against Foggy Nelson, who's the district attorney at this point in time. And it turns out, according to Blake Tower, he has nothing to do with that. His first appearance is issue 126. Yep. And here's the thing about Blake Tower. He was the DA for a long time in the books. And I do mean a long time. I mean, he was the district attorney from the 70s up until the 1990s. Yes. He appeared first initially as a recurring character in Daredevil. Then by 148, he's dropped from the book. Yeah, he does get back to the book to 163. And if you're curious though, what's his most raised appearance to date? Appearing in Captain America. And if you're curious though, is he still district attorney now? Yeah, Blake Tower only made 53 appearances over the course of the entire period of existence that he appeared in the comics. Yeah, and unknown if he's still the District Attorney of New York. It's completely unknown. It's just that he was DA for a long time. I think currently he's still the DA, which is kind of weird when it comes to this guy. This guy did even appear on the live action Daredevil TV show, except for some reason they made him black. I have nothing against the guy who played Blake Tower. I think he did a good job. But here's the thing. In the comics, he first introduced as a candidate for district attorney, and then he won the seat. And he maintained the seat for a long time. In the TV show, he starts out as an ADA and becomes DA once the original DA is assassinated by... it's not the Punisher. No, it's implied to be the Punisher. It was actually somebody else who did it. I don't remember who it was in the show. It was some other guy who killed the DA who was a woman. Yes, seriously. But as far as I can tell for comics-wise, his most recent appearance was toward the end of Brubaker's run, well, when it was Captain America and Triple H, number before the relaunch. He was over the trial of the Winter Soldier for his crimes as Winter Soldier. Yep. But as for the case of this book itself, I give this book a 10 out of 10. It's really good. Excuse me. It's great, though. I get a chance to talk about debuts of characters like Bullseye and Blake Tower. Yep. And who would have thunk, though, for a character like this one to still be in power after all this time? Even though he doesn't really appear very much at all. No, he doesn't. And I'm not going to reveal exactly who was behind the smear campaign or the obvious fake ads, because it was later stated in later issues that the radio says, don't believe what's on TV. What's seen on TV is complete fake. Complete fake other nonsense. Yep. That's basically what was explained in the comic per se. Explain later issues about that. Yep. But as for who was behind the fake ads and the fakes on TV, I'll talk about that when I finish the Marvel was run for the book. Probably with the next Marvel Masterworks trade. Yep. So yeah, that's it particular review. Next up is going to be a review for possibly the finale for Chicago 7 Levels 4 Season 3. Okay, next video. Bye.